Hey guys, in this video we're painting the softball heart. Just get your paints put on your plate. You are going to need an assortment of brush sizes. Probably need a bigger one for this guy. So I've got different sizes, a vessel of sorts for your water, and of course some paper towels on hand to dry up your brushes and clean up any spills. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the background. We're gonna be painting on the area around the outside of the heart. Oops, water on my brush. Water. We are going to be mixing a little bit of this green and with quite a bit of this yellow. We're just kind of tinting it down just a little. Okay. A little tiny bit of green, and with your yellow. That yellow just turned so quick. And then we're gonna take a little bit of that and start adding in some white. This nice bright fluorescent yellowy green color. Definitely more on the yellow end. What you're looking for. So if it's looking too green, you got too much green. I might even have too much green. I'm thinking I need a little bit more yellow. Maybe not. Once I kind of get away from it, it seems about right. Let me get it on there and see. Yeah, that looks right. So never mind, I didn't need more yellow. I'm just gonna come up around the outside of my heart. I'm gonna work fairly quickly because I want this paint to stay wet. So, nice wet paint. Do your best to get just around the outside. And then I'm going to just take my dirty brush and the white and start blending it out. So as it works its way outward, it's going to be getting lighter. And we can always add a little bit more in if we need more of that nice bright yellow, because the white does fade it out really quick. But I'm just gonna focus on getting that to blend right now. I got like a bug or something stuck on my canvas. So I'm just getting that to blend out. Okay. So I want to keep this, you have to paint this super quick, I'm sorry. Don't be real particular. Just get the paint on the canvas. I'm just gonna make sure all my edges are nice and wet. Got my white paint blending in. Oops, glob. Try not to have globs. And I'm gonna take just the teeniest bit of red on my brush and blend it over here into where I've been picking at my white. This got a little bit of the green in it. And I'm gonna stir that in. And I'm gonna just keep stirring it and then adding a little bit of green. And it's gonna get this kind of orangish pinkishness to it. And I'm gonna start on the outside where it's nice and wet and just kind of start blending up in. And it's messy, it's super messy. And I gotta get up here before that dries. Just real quick, real crazy brush strokes. Need to make a little bit more. Adding a little bit more red, getting a little bit more of my color. Just making a little bit more. This time it might be a little darker. That's okay. I'm gonna get my outside edges. So this is just kind of the base coat. This isn't the final thing. It will look a little better after we work it some more. Just getting my canvas covered entirely with some paint. Because right now it's kind of dull. That's okay. we can layer on top later. Get a little bit more red, stir it in here, get a little bit more made. Oh, that's a lot darker this time. Whatever, it's okay. All right, so I got my canvas filled. I've got nice blending. All my edges are kind of soft. I don't have like a ring around, doesn't look like a bullseye. Nice blended edges. I'm gonna go back in and kind of repeat the process. This time I can kind of make my bright yellowy green color like radiate out further. So I'm just gonna start with a nice clean brush. Same yellowy color that we mixed up. It had a little bit of the green in it and a lot of white. I'm just gonna come back in right on top, repeat my process, get my nice bright yellowy color on. And towards the top, just grab white and blend it up. I'm gonna do the same at the bottom. Just get my bright yellow on around the side here. Let's get it on. And then while it's nice and wet, take my white on my edge and just crazy brush strokes all over. Every which way. And if you want it brighter yet, just repeat. You can add more of that bright yellow in. And ta-da. So the important part about this one is to really work quickly because you want your paint to blend. I'm gonna get a little bit more up here. It's a little too white, I think. I want it a little brighter. And I look through the camera, what I see in front of me and what I'm seeing on the camera does not look the same. So on camera, this looks really light. In front of me, it really doesn't, but I'm really gonna brighten it up for the sake of you guys and what you'll be seeing. I'm just gonna blend it up. If you want any more of that like peachy color, again, it was some red, some of your green, and white. So if you want to get some of that back in, brighten that up, feel free. It's whatever floats your boat. And if you want to omit that part entirely, that's perfectly all right too. Just a little bit more green up here. And this is blending because my paint is still wet. If your paint isn't blending and it's just kind of scraping on top and looking goofy, just get wet paint on there. Both of the colors you want to blend need to be wet. So now I'm going to do the softball heart, the heart shape. I'm going to start by just painting it white. Paint out my brush. And just some white paint. I'm just going to fill in this whole heart. A bigger brush would probably work better. Let me do that. Nice and clean here. Don't have to clean it out or anything. And those lines will show through. Just make sure you don't have thick paint. So I can still see mine. Just nice, thin, even coat of paint, and you'll be perfectly all right. If you're worried that you won't be able to see them, just take a permanent black marker, Sharpie, and outline them. Has to be permanent. I learned that the hard way. If you don't use a permanent marker, the color of the marker will bleed into your paint and will change the color of your paint. So since we're using white, that is a really bad thing to have happen. I used a non-permanent black marker once, not that long ago. I was painting, what was I painting? Jack and Sally for a video, nonetheless. and it wasn't permanent. I thought it was, and it bled into the white of Jack's head blue. So there was a lot of blue tint in my poor Jack Skellington. Okay, so I've got nice wet paint. I need it to be nice and wet. I'm going to take some of this peachy color. It was a little red mixed in with our funky yellow here and a lot of white. And I am going to just kind of blend that around the edge. Very little paint on my brush. And if I get too much that I don't like it, just take some white and you can just go right over it and calm it down. I'm gonna add a little bit more just because I want some good shadowing. I come up here on this edge, do the same. And just go back and forth in that wet white paint until it blends in. Maybe a little here. So it kind of looks like a dirty softball. And just get a little highlight. I'm just going to take a little bit of my yellowy color on my dirty brush. I'm just going to kind of brush in a little bright spot. Just a little. Maybe tone that down a little with some white. There. So next I'm going to do some gray stripes on the stitching. I'm going to blow this dry just to make sure it's dry. You guys just take your time, let it dry. And I'm going to make gray, just a kind of a medium to light shade of gray. I'm going to mix my paint using my medium-sized brush. Tiny bit of black and with some white. A little darker. Something about like that. Just keep grabbing more paint. It's gonna take me forever to stir it. And we don't need a lot of this. I have way more than I need. We just need to do 2 little lines just to outline where we had that pencil. I'm going to switch to a nice long skinny liner brush. I like to add a little water into my paint when I do thin outlining kind of stuff. I just dip my brush into my water jar. And the water that's on my brush, I just stir it right into my paint. So make sure you don't get too much water. That is important. If you have too much water, if you hold your plate up, it's going to drip down. Just make sure your paint doesn't drip. If it drips off your plate like that, it's going to drip off your canvas the same. So just take your time and just follow these lines. It is easier if it's sitting in front of you opposed to up on an easel. So if you're working on an easel, just take it down. Just lay it down in front of you or put it on your lap. It's my preferred method. And then we're going to do some stitching with red. I'm going to darken that red just a little. I'm going to add just a little bit of black and with some of my red. Oh, that's too much. So you get like a nice dark kind of burgundy red. You still want it to look red. If you get too much black in, it starts to look purple. So if that happened, just stir in more red. And if you've made up a lot of it, it's easier to just take a little scoop of it and then add more red to the little scoop. Because we don't need much. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush. I'm not going to use that skinny liner brush this time. I'm going to use kind of this small square brush. Oops, has water. And I'm going to go around the outside edge of my heart. And I'm also just going to come in and do some stitching. So I'll start with the outline. Add a little water if you want. This helps it flow better. I'm gonna blow this dry because I want to rest my hand and I don't want to smear that gray everywhere. Canvas is scooting on me. Oh, can't see what I'm doing over there on that side. Awkward angle. I'm hoping it looks all right. And it's over here. Just take your time. Okay. There we go. And then for stitching, it's just like little diagonal lines. So they're not straight out. They kind of go at an angle. And I just go from the gray line out and up. And leave a little space in between. And do the same on the other side. I stagger a little so they're not completely lined up. They're a little off kilter. Oops. What is happening? There we go. So kind of in between the previous one. I got that one, and we'll do the exact same thing to the other side. And I can fit one more. That is it. We are done. That one is not too awful. It's a quick one to paint. The hardest part is really just getting all your blending in around the background. I know that is not the easiest thing to do. The key is just keep your paint wet so that you can smush the colors into each other. When you are finished, you're gonna want to sign your name, or maybe not, maybe you're not gonna want to do that. I'm gonna put my name down here. I'm gonna kind of, let me just grab, kind of make my peachy color here a little bit darker so it will show up. A little water in it. And just right down here, I'm gonna squeeze in my name. When you're done, please take photos. I like seeing finished work. I have a post pinned right to the top of my Facebook page, Willy-Nilly. You can just comment in there with your photo. I love seeing them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.